You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company, and co-hosted by Shannon Richmond, the Vice President of the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner. Welcome to Lux Life Discovered. My guest today, and we're so glad to have her with us, Daphne Thompson. So Daphne, thank you for being with me.
Well, Rick, thank you for welcoming me.
Well,
What you do on Lux Life Discovered resonates deeply with me.
Well, great. I appreciate that. And your latest book is Christmas Tree Wish, and then you're also the founder of Conscious Quill. So before we get to the book, tell us about Conscious Quill and what that involves.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the Conscious Quill is a sanctuary for awakened souls who are ready to become the author of their life,
Okay.
either on the page or in reality. And what I mean by that is that through conscious coaching, spiritual embodiment, and creative activation, I help clients, I guide them to embody their inner author, the part of them that can rewrite old patterns, heal long-held wounds, and create a life aligned with their true divine nature, so that they don't have to be, they don't have to be a writer necessarily to walk this path. They simply have to be willing to stop being a character in someone else's story and start consciously composing their own.
How do you find that even people that want to do that, is there acceptance there or is there resistance in some cases?
That's a good question. There's always going to be a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
That's just part of the human condition. But hopefully that all gets unraveled once they start feeling some of the progress,
Right.
With the work that we do.
But isn't it amazing the people that know they need that, and that's what they come to you for in some cases, but they still it's like a wall that has to be broken down.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Okay. And then how long have you had the Conscious Quill and been doing this?
Well, the Conscious Quill has interestingly evolved for me. I was actually living the journey, you could say, of becoming conscious. And so part of my own story is the actual event that took place in my life that mirrors and reflects the whole story of what's happening in the Christmas Tree Wish.
Okay.
So, so incidentally, the book has become a learning tool for not only children, but adults as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Because a lot of times we carry things over to our adulthood that we didn't deal with as children, and it still plays a major role.
Absolutely.
So tell us about Christmas Tree Wish then. Let's start there and kind of tell us the premise behind that book and what it's about.
Where do I begin? To start, I write stories that help both children and adults reconnect with their light. So the Christmas Tree Wish in this story, it's about a little tree named Liam who discovers hope, belonging, and who he really is. And in many ways, that mirrors our own human awakening. Today, so many people are experiencing these inner shifts that they don't have language for, which we've been touching on already. But it's that feeling of, being ungrounded or separate from themselves or unsure why old emotions are resurfacing. But what they're actually feeling, Rick, is a deeper part of themselves, their true essence that's trying to come forward. So, to answer your question, my work as an author and a conscious coach helps people to realize that awakening isn't a strange phenomena. It's a very natural process. So that's been my work, but it wasn't always clear to me. The clarity didn't, you know, I knew that I loved to write. My passion was coming forward just by the sheer essence of needing to record it. So I would start to journal. And so for years, I just started journaling my own inner transformation. And then
Okay.
with that, it just bloomed from there.
So the Christmas Tree Wish has actually been in the works for a number of years then. True?
Well, yeah, I mean, personally, yes.
Right.
But the story itself miraculously came to me. I woke up one morning and then literally it was just right there, and I wrote it in 3 hours.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes,
Well,
yes, it's a wow. I have there are quite a few miracles that go along with this book. If you have
that's
time, I can
interesting.
share
Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess you had all the experience and it just like when it all came together, it came together then. Yeah.
Yes, it certainly did. It changed my life. It's a life-changing story, and that's actually what happens when a reader gets their hand on a copy of it, is they discover something new in it for themselves. It helps them to be, to feel more alive and more accepting of their past.
Okay. What age group do you think is the best for this particular book and the
Um,
subject?
when I started out, needing, you have to classify everything, what genre, what
Right.
age, that kind of thing. Reader, it's a little bit above the age level for 6 to 9, 6 to 12,
Okay.
but it certainly fits in that range very nicely.
Okay.
Um, it that's the age range that I had to put down to in order to, put the book out there and publish it.
Right.
But what you find out is when you read it that somebody that has holds maybe several PhDs, or is very educated or uneducated, it doesn't matter. The language has some kind of you can say a magical resonance to it that just helps them to go more inward and deep, and to find something there that needs to be looked at,
Okay. What do you think I don't know, I hate to say obstacle, but what were one of the biggest challenges in doing this book?
Huh.
Yeah,
Well, I love that question because I went through the process of discovery through the dark, so to speak. The whole publishing process took a while because I didn't know what I was doing. I had the help of my husband, my
was
partner
this
in
your
crime.
first book?
This is my first, published children's
Okay. All
book.
right. I didn't
And
realize
I
that.
had no idea I was even going to put a children's book out there because honestly, I thought that I was writing more for adult audiences.
Right.
But so the whole publishing process is very daunting because especially back when I was in the process of getting this book published, so much has changed since then, really. I mean, honestly, the whole industry now with so many more indie authors out there and much easier um, methods and processes to get your book published and out there. But at the time in between 2018 and 2020, when COVID hit, I was still, working to find a way that was my best uh, path to getting this book
Mhm.
published. And it was just knocking on doors, sending letters, traveling, meeting agents. So it's a long, arduous process, or at least it was. It's become a lot easier, as I was saying. That was the most difficult part, really. And one thing I will just add is I had not many, I think a couple one agent and a publisher say, you're coming across a little bit harsh here. I would change the wording around so that you don't, maybe you can talk, maybe you can address the topic of death, a little softer, or just take it out, just remove it.
Well, kind of change the whole purpose of doing it. Yeah.
And I knew in my heart and in my soul, in every part of my being, that that was absolutely wrong, that I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
And if I didn't follow my heart, I would be doing a complete disservice to myself and everyone else that I wanted, or who would read the book.
Right.
So I'm glad I didn't take that advice. And if I had to give any advice to anybody, when you're writing from your passion, trust, just trust, because people always have an opinion.
Oh,
They
yeah.
always will have an opinion. So,
And I've covered this before with other people. The people that have the strongest opinions are usually the ones that have never challenged themselves to live outside their comfort zone.
ooh, I like
But
that. That's
but
well
they
put.
can give you great advice on yours and your path and what you should do. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. So you're the subject of the book, the content, the awakening, and that, how has that been received?
Well,
Especially even a few years ago, because that was different back then, perception.
yes, yes. I could answer that with a double-edged sword.
I'll
Because,
bet.
yes, because, every author, aspiring author wants their book to be received like, hey, people are buying copies, they're contacting, stores that trigger buyers to buy more
Right.
books from the distributor warehouses and to keep, oiling the cycle, greasing the pump.
Mhm.
No, that's not how it happened for me. In fact, it was quite opposite. There was a lot of effort, physical effort. I mean, if I didn't have such a great man in my life, my husband, he supported me all the way. He said, "Hey, get in the car and get you packed, and we're just gonna, believe in you that you can go and do this thing. So get out there, go knock on doors and just offer to do signings." And so I would do a lot of cold calling, and the reception was warm. Yeah, yeah, come on in, we'll have you do a signing, whether it was a hotel or, tied around an event, um, or, a store, not just bookstores, but
Right.
gift shops, boutiques. And I found that the book was getting a lot of interest from teachers.
Okay. Yeah.
And so teachers were starting to bring it into their classrooms. And so, but the other side of that is interesting. Interestingly, what happened is when I was doing these book tours, um, that just so happens that the one I was doing in Wisconsin, um, I had no idea. One of the wealthy business owners in La Crosse ended up getting a copy of my book and contact me and said, "Do you have enough copies if I were to supply the Boys and Girls Club?"
Oh, wow.
So, there you go. I mean, just big
You
shocker like that. Nothing I ever anticipated happening, and so those things happen, and it was a nice surprise.
did you came up with enough copies, didn't you?
Oh yeah, actually I did have enough copies though.
That's great. Yeah. But that's a lot of times though, that's when you experience the greatest success is through a means that you totally did not expect.
Totally, totally.
So wow, so he was impressed with it then. If he wanted to do, if he did that, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. He was apparently very strong supporter, advocate of the Boys and Girls Club, and thought that it touched him in such a way that he felt it could really help the boys and girls
Right,
of
right.
America. Yeah.
So one thing you talk about too is ego identity and essence identity. How do you cover that a little bit and explain that a little bit more?
Right, right. Yeah, that's one that we hear a lot of times the word ego.
Mhm.
Um, and the ego is limited. The ego is protective. The ego is needing to defend something or justify something to feel self-worth.
Right.
The essence identity is whole from the beginning to the end of whatever story, whatever experience we're having. It's the alpha omega of our experience.
Okay. And so a lot of people, you think people get that confused, that the ego is the essence? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand all of this, that think their ego is what really drives them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people definitely get confused about what the ego is, and also, not really being sure altogether entirely what their essence identity is. In fact, that's what the whole awakening is about, is what's in here? What makes me tick? Why am I here? Who am I?
When people discover the difference and realize they've looked for the essence, and sometimes their ego keeps them from finding the essence, are they really kind of shocked at, like, wow, I never knew that, or just amazed that they find that identity after all?
It feels like coming home,
Okay.
uh, to put it best. The ego is always something that we're truly running away from, but it's also our safety. It's like our it's 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 a pseudo identity. It's one that we know doesn't feel right, but it's the only one we know to um to reflect. It's the only identity that we know to identify with and to be toward others. It's what we've picked up all along in life, you
Yeah.
know, be this way, don't be that way.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And if you don't conform, then something's wrong with you, that type thing. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So the whole awakening part of this, how is that part? Because with so many things today, just a simple word can really turn people off or make them gravitate toward you. Did the
Yeah.
awakening, did that, like, make people be a little standoffish for some reason?
Yeah, it's not a topic that people are necessarily comfortable with. Some people, you can chat with for a few seconds and they'll change the subject because they're just not comfortable with it. They're not there, and that's okay. It should never be something that's forced. It should come naturally. But awakening simply means becoming aware of a deeper presence within yourself. So that part of you that's whole, calm, and connected. Most people live from the surface of their identity, i.e., the ego, the part that worries, that fears, that reacts. But awakening is when the deeper self begins to rise. It shows up as intuition, clarity, um, as unexpected emotion, and also a longing for meaning. And what I mean by that is understanding instead of living in a confused state or foggy state.
Well, this whole podcast is about people living their passion and discovering their passion. And COVID had a profound effect on people in so many different ways. A lot of people discover their passion through COVID. And I could see where COVID, in this case, would make people think more about awakening and discovering their true identity, because everything was like put on pause for 2 or 3 years. So we had nothing else to do but kind of think about, where do we go from here? What's next? That type thing. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Oh, unbelievably so. I mean, it either drove people to the point where they went, mad, crazy, because with all that time, yes, they had to go. It was a worldwide awakening. It forced us to go inward and to go more deeply within. Um, and it's funny. I had this book written in 2018, right before COVID hit, but I didn't have it published yet. And I knew with all my heart that this book could really help a lot of people, especially when adults deal with the topic of death and with so many um, fatalities from COVID.
Mhm.
How how do you talk to a child about that? You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like inspirationally, why the book came to me, why I wrote the book, The Christmas Tree Wish, is that Liam's journey is a child-friendly way of exploring awakening, moving from fear and separation into identity, belonging, and inner light.
Okay. All right.
Our true safe space, our home, one that never, it can never be destroyed or taken away from us. It's
Right.
one that's always
And
been
children need that.
whole.
Yeah. And children need that assurance of safety.
Yes. So even though it's a magical forest story, it carries a message that children, parents, or anyone awakening today can feel and identify, relate to.
That's good. So locally, how have you had success with it locally as well?
Yes. So I've been coming here for years with my husband to vacation because my father-in-law is a native to the area.
Okay.
And so I've been familiar with the location, and Sundog, the Hidden Lantern, they've invited me to do signings. So I've done that before in the past. This year as well, now as a full-time resident, I've been at the Hidden Lantern, Sundog Books, a few other events. Like yesterday, I was at the Hub, a
Okay.
Christmas, what was it, for the V magazine, put on an event there for doing a little Christmas stroll around the shops.
All
That
right.
was fun. I'll be at Black Bear Bread Company coming up on the 18th in Grayton Beach, the Blue Giraffe, the Monday before Christmas. So for any late Christmas shoppers.
Yeah. Well, that's good because what a perfect time for the Christmas tree wish to be out. Yeah.
Thank
Not
you.
just with the holiday season, but also just the meaning it has with it.
Yes. Yes.
So where do you see yourself going from here? Or right now we're just concentrating on the book and that, or are you already into creative people never settle down. So I'm sure you haven't either. So have you got other projects in mind or?
Well, in answer to that question, Rick, my cup runneth over.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
It's literally, yes. So I'm going to be putting I'm working right now. I'm near done, a complete master class for authors or people who just want to rewrite their life. That'll be an intense workshop. And then also, I am launching right now. I'm in the middle of finishing an episodic memoir.
Okay.
And that book is, let me tell you a little bit about that. I call it a historical treasure, but it's an episodic memoir of the oldest living pioneer in this area. His name is George Thompson. He happens to be my father-in-law.
Okay.
And his life spans nearly a century of stories from old Florida, stories you can't find in any history book. So they're rare, humorous, and heartfelt. And I feel like it preserves a living piece of local history.
Right.
That's so many people he shared these stories with on the beach where, you can often find him at walking, talking to people, encouraging them, or fishing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so many of his, you could say, fans are um, looking forward to this book coming out.
Any projected release date or we just,
I'm hoping that realistically, definitely in 2026 before June, but most likely it will be late spring.
wow. So you're staying busy then.
I'm
And
staying
of course,
busy.
as the success continues with this book, I've got to have a feeling though, if you wrote this one in 3 hours and you're working on this one, you'll hit the target you're shooting for.
Thanks, Rick. I'll take that as a home run.
Yeah, definitely, because I always think I've always loved to talk to people that are living their passion and then they just make it happen, because that's what it's all about. It's so easy to get discouraged, put things to the side. And, some people have projects they start on and then put them to the side and they're put away for years, and never, or sometimes they're never even touched again. And so I'm glad to see that you're following through and making yours come to life.
Yeah, and that's a great point you make, because there was a period in my life where I felt like I was doing just that. I was letting the embers of my passion burn inside me and get the best of me because I wasn't letting it out. I was putting other things in front of it. My writing, my passion to do that and making that my career. And it's really, really taking on a whole new life now with these other things like that, like I've shared with you. But I would just say that probably the most important learning aspect of all of this for myself has been to trust the process, trust the divine order that is all around, that is always there to support me, uplift me, because we see too much of what's going on in the world, and it's heavy. It's a feeling of heaviness.
Yeah.
But to just trust and don't give up. Don't give up, even if it takes you some years later or longer than you had hoped to do.
And the other trust is to trust yourself.
Yes,
Yes.
trust yourself.
And that's sometimes where, I know it sounds crazy, but that's sometimes where we drop the ball, because we have this passion, we have this inclination, we have this drive, but somehow we let everything else come in and we're the ones that we sabotage.
That is absolutely spot on. Spot on. And self-love, and through the awakening process, incidentally, self-love brings us to a place where we don't do that anymore.
Well, great. Okay. Well, I can't wait to get the copy of the book and read it myself. So I'm excited about it. I'm
Thank
a little
you.
older than 6 to 9, but hey, I'm still going to do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'll almost be 69.
Well, you do look young enough to read the book, Rick.
Thank you. And my wife would say I act young enough to read it too. So yeah. But so we're going to put your information on the screen. So if people want a copy of the book or want to know more about it, they can contact you. Is that the best way to do that?
Yes, but and I'm happy for people to also buy the book through normal chain, like Barnes and Noble, wherever online you may find it. Definitely you can order it from my own website, and you can also have it personalized if you would like it signed. Otherwise, the book is available at your bookstore. Definitely, and please support the ones here in 30A, like the Hidden Lantern, and Sundog books.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and it was great to do this, even though we're doing it remotely. I look forward to meeting you soon, and so that way we'll have that personal connection as well. But thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Rick, and to all your viewers. Have a wonderful, safe Christmas and holiday season.
Okay, great. And that concludes our episode of Lux Life Discovered. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.